just inside the portal. I'm letting the others walk ahead of me so you can have some scale and perspective. Interesting crumbly rock in here. It almost looks like a slusher has run through here, at least in the portal, but now it doesn't look like that so much. Some of the support timbers. Don't know a whole lot about this mine, other than that it's big, because the waste rock pile is big. Powder storage from the look of it. So, little mineralized zone here, a bunch of graffiti. Got stuff going off to the left, going to the right. Looks like there's an ore chute or something up ahead. Definitely feel some airflow going through here. So I was back there, and I was right about this being an ore chute. However, you'll notice I've got kind of an odd perspective on it, which is because it's had a bunch of material come down from what I'm going to show you in a minute and bring us up to the level of the ore chute. The adit should be, or the drift should be, several feet below where I'm kneeling, but you'll see why in a second. But there's a good view of the ore chute. Still has a metal gate in it, which you don't see too often. It's pretty cool. Let me crawl forward a few more feet and I'll show you what's there. There's the ore chute there with my backpack next to it. And I'm lying on my back right now because that's all the space I have. And the reason all of this is here is because I'm next to a shaft. A shaft that failed. And the contents above went tumbling down the shaft, including the electric motor right there, which is perched extremely precariously, or I should say the remains of a motor. You can see some of, I'm guessing, probably the head frame because of the bolts. And you see the ground is given way there and tumbled down the shaft. Looks like, can't tell if that's an airline. Yeah, I think that's an airline right there. The drift keeps going that way. There's some mud and dirt to my right, and the shaft plunges down that way for several hundred feet based on the results of the rock test. This is extremely sketchy. If you want to get down this, I think a lot of material would come down on top of you, not to mention, given the size of this mine, all the stuff from the head frame and such going down there is plugged anyway. So once you get a bit deeper down. So interesting, but let's see what else is back here. We were last looking back there. You can still see the ore chute right there. And I've got this drift to the left. Pretty dark rock in here. Got, one of my buddies obviously went here. So this is an interesting setup here. I suppose if we were really ambitious, we could cross over this precarious contraption here. It's at an angle. That's not me holding the camera awkwardly. It's tilting down. And looks like it's completely backfilled right there. I'm getting good reports on what is potentially down there. See what's starting to drop and twist and weave down there. That looks promising. However, I want to run this out since I'm on this level already. Looks like there may have been an ore pass or something here, but it's all plugged in. See how? Maybe not. Looks like there may be a chute, part of a chute right there. So maybe at one time this was an ore pass, because you can see the holes right there, suggesting it did go down at one time. In front of me is, yeah, this is an ore chute. Looks like there's maybe even a bin up there, given all the infrastructure up there. Might just climb up and take a peek in that and come back out. So there's a chute there, and the adit, or yeah, this isn't adit. Adit keeps running that way. So I'm gonna climb over this and I'll pick up over there. Well, I was starting to crawl through the ore chute and I stood up in this section, and you can see the infrastructure here. And then some ladders running up that way, maybe. We'll see. There's just a little chamber up there, a platform there. And there, it got really humid all of a sudden, so the lens is starting to fog up. I'm gonna get back in this section and wipe the lens off and carry on. Still pretty damp. I did the best I could with the dusty clothes I have. That's the ore chute. We just looked up. A lot of survey marks in this mine. It's definitely been checked out by geologists. So, running ahead. Very dark rock, as I mentioned before. See all the survey marks? Looks like, okay, I thought we might have had some rail there. Looks like it's still airlines and that sort of thing. Got a junction here leading off that way. All utilities running back there. But I think I'm going to stick with the right-hand rule. Actually, got utilities going back here as well. You've got the track ties, but not the rail. I think I might hear my friends walking towards me. See how the rock changed? Now we've got this clay, looks like. Yeah. There's a friend.
Hey, friend.
What's back there?
The inability to breathe, jeez.
Yeah, the lens is getting all fogged up.
It gets worse. It's so, we hit the clay.
Oh, okay.
It's a little sketchy, but you got your hanging wall, solid rock, and then you got the clay. And you can see the clay delaminates pretty easy on the hanging wall back there, not here.
Had to clean the lens off again. It's getting fogged up again. Friend said it definitely hits the clay layer here. See, we got our rail. Is that a rail in front of me? I like that. They came back, not because it was caved or anything, but because it got bigger and bigger, and figured it'd be best if we stayed together. So they came back to check in. But yeah, so there's a four-way junction up here and a lot going on. I'd say this is the four-way junction. Looks like I think that's a carbide can, but it looks a little bit off for carbide, so who knows. Wow, definitely hit the clay. Stuff going in that direction, and stuff going that direction. Definitely a four-way. What's that a can of? That's not carbide, is it?
No, so diesel oil. Yep.
All right, so which one did you guys go down?
No, we ran that one out. We didn't go over the clay collapse because it was kind of tight and clay, and I didn't feel like dealing with that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Especially in
it looks like it ends at that collapse, but then it dips right into another drift and goes to a face eventually.
More survey markers. Yeah, you can see how the clay slabs are delaminating. A drill mark right there.
You guys want to do that?
Definitely getting a little sketchy with the clay slabs. But what's interesting is you can see very clearly the fault here. See that smooth surface? That's the fault. Ground smooth by running across this fault below it. Or excuse me, this block beneath it. You can see the clay there. This was a gold mine. Those of you that know your geology probably picked up on that already, but yeah, this was a gold mine. And I was told, I don't know if it was said on camera, but I was told this dead-ended, given the size of this mine. I don't know if I'll push this too far, because you guys would probably be more interested in seeing other stuff. Yeah, see that clay layer right there? Miners target these contact zones because they're usually really highly mineralized. Okay, I get what they were talking about here. So that looks like it's gotten caved out and it dives down to the right here. A little tight. You can hear my backpack scraping on stuff. I don't know if my friends went down this one. See the camera's getting fogged up again. I guess it ain't worse. I'll have to stop and wipe it off. It's getting annoying, isn't it? Still going. How long that's been here? Okay, I don't think they came this far. They did not describe this. There's some wood tossed back here. And it's just dead ends. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera off and wipe it off. Just look down there where the wood is. I'm going to continue running this out. Yeah, he said it just ducked to the right, but I think they came back to check in before continuing. Definitely off the fault in the contact zone. Okay, well, that wasn't very exciting. So we'll go back, and here's a fault again, actually. You can see it more from this angle. See the flat, smooth. We'll go back and hit that central drift, the next one on the right, following the right-hand rule. We just looked down there as a refresher. That's where we came in from. Next one in line would be this one. Nobody's back yet. My one of my friends went down there, and the Jakes went down there, and none of them are back yet. So it either goes for a way, or they're all dead. Look at all those crystals on the floor. That's pretty cool looking. No, it's not asbestos. Whenever I show crystals, I always get a bunch of comments. Alright, well, I'd say they went to the last drift, because this is the end of this one. Anyway, I was just saying, whenever I show crystals, I get a bunch of comments about how, oh, it's asbestos. No. So, heading back. Let's go down this drift. Ooh, I feel airflow, which is nice. I don't have to wipe the lens off all the time. See the fault again. Contact zone right there. You see that mineralization. There's the rail. Front of me, rail, airline. I can see it better here. Kind of cool, stripy mineralization in here. You see that? Oh, ground fall here. When you get in these highly mineralized zones, the ground is often pretty unstable. It's nice having a rail. It's nice having a breeze in my face too, given how hot and humid it was deeper in. I think I hear something up ahead. Footsteps or something. Still wrapping around. Got a junction here. See the rail going off to the left to probably a failed stope. Hear voices up ahead. So caught up to my friends. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Out.
That way faces out after a little ways.
Is Big Jake down there?
He is.
Okay. I'll go shoot this real quickly. I feel airflow.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't see it though.
I don't see it, but I felt as soon as I turned down this drift, I felt it. So there's a forest of stoles and stuff down there. We'll hear the report on that momentarily. This supposedly faces out, but I want to prove it to you guys. Plus, if you'll recall, little Jake doesn't have the best track record for accuracy. Has anybody been down here? You been down here?
I will confirm for you. We checked it. I mean, it goes for a little while, and there's a massive
It's kind of funny.
part of the drift has had a massive collapse.
Okay.
Like at the end of this one, I believe, is the.
No, that's a
collapse.
That's a carbide can. Okay, this is caved or
Yeah, this is caved.
kind of a cool stope here.
Yep.
Oh, I should probably show it on camera too rather than just talk about it. Getting hot and humid again. A lot of slabs have broken off. And yeah, wow, that's pretty messy actually. That is done. Looks like they followed it down too. It's all filled in now. We can see the stope around down there. Yeah, that's really ugly actually. That's bad news. And obviously not getting through that. It's a skinny stope. A skinny stope, but it does run up.
You sure this was stoped, or you think this just caved in?
I think this was stoped. Yeah, especially up there. I think this was stoped. I think it was a pretty narrow vein, but I think that's what they were doing here. And then,
That part, perhaps, but this part's definitely.
oh, this, yeah, what I'm walking through now, yeah, that's caved, but I think the other stuff was stoped. And then we've got, that's crazy with the temperature swings and humidity swings in this mine. Did that other one face out?
Yeah, the other one faces out.
All right, well, I still have to prove it.
Yep.
But no rail or anything coming down here. I don't know what that was for.
We looked at it. It was just some sort of cotton.
Huh. There's kind of, there's a bunch of greasy components back here. I wonder if it was just a rag for something. And that's it. So let's go get the report on where it said out, which is kind of odd since it was going down.
I don't think the arrow was pointing down though. I think most all the arrows in this place are still leading towards the exit. That's where we came out of, where we entered.
I'm not taking a look at it. I had the impression it was pointing down, but
You could be right.
I had once or twice in my life I have been mistaken. Oh yeah, you're right. He's right. It was pointing out that way we came. And that's where the others went down, so let's go down there and join them. Hard to tell from here, but we dropped in from back there. Pretty slabby down here, as you can see. A lot of big slabs that come down, nicely mineralized. Apparently there's a big chamber up there from all the slabs that have come down. There's more stuff dropping down this way. You see how dry rotted the wood is. Definitely does get damp down here, which is not encouraging with all the slabs and stuff. You can see the airlines, utilities running down here. So definitely had workings back here. I'll stumble my way up to there and rejoin you there. So I was just standing down there, come up on this little ridge here, and this is a big chamber. Got those guys down there, and then it keeps running down there. It looks like everything is caved in. There obviously were some workings of some substance down here, but it looks like it's all filled in. And then at that point, he said there's a ton of crushed timbers. They started walking down, and a ton of material started sliding after them. So, what are you guys gonna do? You gonna?
We're gonna he and haw for a minute. I'm zooming in on that wood over there, that other secondary chamber. It's either a second chamber or this is just all collapsed in between. Yeah, ton of timber over there. Some sort of infrastructure. This whole side kept going and it all pancaked down.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about this side,
yeah,
which obviously kept running back that way.
Pancaking in these huge chunks. Technically, if this comes down, it will probably still get back up. This more. Yeah.
All right, there's the young one investigating things down there. We're letting him scout it out, see if it's worth doing or not. He said there was a bunch of rail down about where that light is right now that was suggestive of a trestle, perhaps. Hard to say, it's all bent up and smashed, but perhaps it was a trestle. You can see where the light is now, that's where he is. Just scouting it out, but we'll see. All right, we received word that that sublevel was harder to access than initially presumed. There's some possibility. Didn't completely follow the slopes all the way down, but the one we passed on the way in looks much more promising. So we're gonna try that first, and if that's a dead end, then maybe come back here and dig a bit deeper. But for now, we're gonna go to the most promising. We're headed back to that most promising section and drop down, and I forgot that we bypassed this drift on the way in. So I'm just gonna go check it out real quickly. It's been reported to me that it caves about 200 feet in, but for the sake of completeness, I want to show you what it looks like. Very solid looking, at least in this section. Not a lot of ground fall, but see how quickly that can change? It can change very quickly. It actually is a different type of rock. This is more like a clay. You can see the miners are concerned about it too because they timbered it up, but with the dry rot in this mine, those timbers are like a powder almost. So. But yeah, it changed from that dark rock to the more of the clay structure, and look what happens. So, yeah, for the sake of thoroughness.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, I figured.
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Boulder came down too.
Big boulder came down?
Yeah, well, a bunch of boulders.
Yeah, the slabs.
Looked for a second like it was still holding up something.
Yeah. All right, so we've got that most promising section to drop down. I'll pick up back there. We just came from that direction back at this interesting platform. And I'm about to drop down the ladder here and check it out. I just noticed though how warped it is. You see that warping in the ladder? Isn't that funny? So I'll pick up somewhere down there. I just climbed down the ladders here. As you can see, and there's kind of a cool forest of stoles down here that carries on there. There's an ore chute right there. And it drops down to a drift level there. And it looks like it keeps dropping down there. But it's good enough for us to keep going. So I'll pick up probably on the drift level there. So I came down from there. I'm on this drift level here. Something runs back that way. There's this ore chute in front of me, which terminates in front of me here. Then there's a platform that runs to a drift level there, and then something keeps running down that way. I feel the airflow, and I'm not sure if it's coming from that direction or farther down. I don't see the, well, I guess I was just gonna say I don't see the ribbons moving, but now I do see them moving, so we'll probably just keep dropping down. I was just showing you what was over there. I'm gonna check out this drift going this way while the others are still coming down. I don't know if it goes anywhere or not. More likely not. Although you never know. That must tie into one of the pits that we passed. Yeah, I hear activity up there, so at some point we look down that. And then this, maybe, oh, okay. That drops down, and there's some pretty big stopes, but we'd have to go back and get more rope to be able to get down to those. We can get across over there. So, yeah, I think I'll go do that. Just climb across this little bridge here. That's back where I was. I crossed over. Here's a better look at the fairly substantial stopes down there in this section. Till they had electricity down here. We've got chamber here, pinches out, but the drift keeps going in front of me. Dead ends right there. Huh. Oh, I thought I was on a false floor. I was just walking on a bunch of wood. It says out. Got a something that keeps dropping down there. Probably goes down to those stopes. Got that was all filled in. That is the end right there. You've got a stope with some pretty big stoles running up there. That's more of a raise, actually. That could be an ore pass. That's not a stope. More of the old electrical line. A muck sheet in front of me. Lots of that crystal down here. And then it faces out right there. That's all crystal. Look at that. That's pretty wild. And then this, probably an ore pass. Hard to say. So, seems like time to go back and keep dropping down. Actually, no, now that I think about it, the next thing to do would be to cross those little bridges, see what else is on this level, because those we're headed back toward the shaft. So let's go see what that's about. All right, back in this section, and we just went to that side. Now I've got these. These aren't as sporty as I remembered. These here. And as I said before, this is in the direction of the shaft, so I was curious if these tie into that or not. I would say not, since this is the end right here. And this has got a hell of an echo. And so I don't think that this is where the shaft was, but man, it has an echo.
What?
I was demonstrating the echo for the viewers. Looks like there's an airline or something right there. So I think we're gonna take the last option. Keep dropping down there. See if we can find a rock or something to toss down there. All right, this is the biggest rock I could find. Yeah, that's pretty deep. That one behind me is pretty deep. Yeah. So let's try this one next. There's a look.
I think it drops right off with that ladder is.
It does?
There's a ladder and it drops off.
Yeah, well, I'll scurry down there and see how it looks. I just dropped off this ladder. The section I started is way up there. There's, if not a level, at least a sub-level down here, something running off that way. When you were tossing the rocks down, they sounded like they were going a long way because they were flowing into this ore chute here and traveling farther down. Looks like, I think that's the drift level right there. But in the meantime, I want to run this out and see what might be here. This is heading in the direction of that deep, deep, deep pit, winze thing. Might have been a shaft, but I couldn't see how far it ran to the surface, so I'm just calling it a deep hole for now. Speaking of deep holes, that's a pretty deep one right here. Looks like a plugged ore chute, and I bet I can't tell if that's the big one or not. Man, I don't really like going over this one. The stakes are high if I fall down that. Oh well, I'll do it for you guys. Okay. Alright, that wasn't bad. Oh, okay, that's not the big one. Could be a filled in ore chute or something, who knows. Still wrapping our way through here. We've got, can't tell what that is, just a stope, perhaps. Let's see here. Drift continues. I feel like I've gone around that big, I'm assuming a big hole, I'm gonna call it. And that's the end right there. So somebody was back here collecting samples, and then that's just a little stope right there, as I thought. So I'm gonna go back and check out that other side over there. I'll pick up over there. Just finished looking over there. I'm back where the ladder came down. Here's another look at that ore chute I was describing. I think you can see it better from this angle. See right there? And actually you can see as they're coming down, knocking the rocks down, you can see how the rocks are tumbling down the ore chute. And what I'm hoping, that's very mineralized. What I'm hoping is that this stope chamber here will run right down to the drift. And indeed it does. There's the next drift level down. And I can just walk right down it from here. I like that. That over there, I suspect, are those stopes that we looked into, and I went the other way where all those crystals were, the hairy crystals. I think that's right there. Big boulder right there. And I can see rail leading off over there. And stuff going off in that direction. I'm going to swap out a battery and get organized, and we'll go from there. So the hairy crystal stopes are over there. I'm not sure if we want to check that out yet. We're trying to keep pushing down. I think they are just stopes, but I want to get down here because I'm more curious about this level anyway. Alright, there's the rail there. So now I am officially on the drift level. It looked like it kept dropping down over there. But since they're going over there, I want to go over here. There's more rail there. Really feeling the airflow here. This is the ore chute. The stuff was dumping down that we looked down. Now that I'm looking at it more close, I was thinking we could just climb down that, but looking at it more closely and how dry rotted it is, I'm glad we came down the way we did. There's a dead end there. Some mineralization here. And this is that shaft or winze that I looked down before. See the airline running down it. I bet this is that shaft that we saw in the very beginning, because you see how the rail jutting out into it is all smashed up and broken. That would happen if a bunch of stuff went tumbling down the shaft. So I bet that's what that is. It did extend over there. Who knows how far, but yeah, this is pretty beefy in terms of size and scale. You can see how steeply it runs up. It's all scoured clean, like a bunch of stuff fell down it too. It's interesting that there's zero infrastructure for what was a pretty substantial shaft, or even just a winze. Either way, it's pretty substantial. And so for all of it to be stripped bare, it tells me it's all sitting down there at the bottom, plugged up. So hopefully we can just kind of keep circling around it via these stopes, as we've been doing, and get down to some good stuff without needing to try and go down the shaft itself. The survey crews have been down here, so we're not ahead of them yet. You know you're doing a good job when you get into a mine and you get ahead of the, you get beyond where the survey crews got, because you find a secret passage or something like that. Looks like some of this is slabbed off.
What did that other direction do?
It ends at the shaft or the winze. So the rail kept running out in this direction. We were just looking back there. The hairy crystal drift stopes are there. And the track I'm walking on ran out here. But it looks like all this stuff came down and beat it up. You got some stoles up there. And if I can not stumble and fall down. Looks like this is a stope that keeps dropping down as we hoped. Down there. So hopefully we'll just keep following this down. I'm gonna turn the camera off and I'll pick up somewhere down there where it gets interesting. Just following these stopes down. Kind of a cool pillar in front of me. You see all the slabs that came down on that stope. It keeps dropping down there. Looks like air and rail down there, so maybe another drift level down there. Speaking of drift levels, see the very top of that timber set right there? That shows you where things ran originally. And there's a bunch of caved material up there. You can see the stoles just sort of hanging in space. They're not even supporting anything anymore because so much has come down. So lots of stuff has come down and run through here. So I'll keep making my way down and I'll anticipate picking up about right there. Still coming down, and turn the camera on a little sooner than I expected because I wanted to show you this caved drift level here. See how there was a drift level there, because you can tell from the timber set, and yet everything's smashed down on top of it. And we're standing on top of what came down. I think this was an ore chute here in front of me. See that angle?
Oh yeah, here's the drift right here.
That's suggestive.
Here's the airline.
And then there's the airline, and rail down there. So yeah, you can see where the drift got smashed down. And I think the remains of this in front of us is the ore chute for the stope. We'll just climb down. Hopefully that made sense. Oh, that's a hell of a boulder right there, waiting to come down. Nice air gaps right there in the rock. And, all right, more stoping here. Oh, wow. Wow. More stoping there. You can see how dry rotted everything is, which I'd rather it weren't. And then it looks like it drops down here. There's a pit right there, but the others sound like they went behind me. And so I wonder if they found a better way down. I do feel airflow here where I am. And the airline, actually, you know what? The airline stuff is running back this way as well. So let's see if we, man, this is tight, can crawl into the drift. Oh, man. Okay.
Hey, Justin, make sure you're rolling when you walk in.
Okay. So there is some caved drift right there. Oh. Here is the airline coming in. Oh, wow. And look at this, guys. Wow.
Ooh, listen. Is he rolling an ore car?
I hear an ore car.
Oh, man. Did this mine just go from a 2 to a 10?
This mine just significantly improved. Wow.
So check out that.
So yeah, there's,
This is a skip right here.
yeah, I was just say that's a skip.
This is a skip.
That's an ore car, obviously. And then, let's see, there might have been something there, but it's caved.
Check it out. Cap wire.
Oh, he's right, yeah, there's cap wire right there. And, whew, that's pretty steep. I'll get over there and get you a better view in a second, but that's pretty steep. And then there must be good stuff back this way because we heard the ore car rolling. So I'm gonna head over there in a minute, but first, I'll show you. Oh yeah, wow.
That would be a challenge because it's undercut.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a challenge.
It might be worth it though.
It was big. You can see the size of the rail here in front of me, and you can see the size of the airline. But that would be challenging. Pretty beefy ore car too. And then let's see what's back here. Lots of bits of stuff around my feet. Wow, look at all these lines. There's a spaghetti tangle of lines right here. And then obviously ore pass or chute or something that was here that has failed. And then I am gonna climb over there and pick up over there. All right, just around the bend, and here's what we heard earlier. This is actually a really cool ore car. Not only does it have all the wheels, which is unusual in itself, it's got at least part of the foot brake on it, which is unique. It's missing the shoe, but you get the idea. And we observed that it's got an interesting arced pattern along the top, which I don't recall ever seeing before. See what I'm saying? So that's an interesting one. Noteworthy in and of itself, aside from the fact that it's an ore car. The drift keeps running that way. It looks great, actually. But before heading down there, I'm just gonna show you what's down here real quickly. Looks like, I don't even know what that is. There's a little, oh, I said little, but I'm gonna retract that and say more than little. Ray is right here, running up, and then this looks like it dead ends back here. No, maybe not. Keeps going. Got some rail back here. Oh, and that dead ends here. Those are pretty big drill holes. But they stopped here. I'm pretty curious about that drift. I was running ahead of the ore car, so let's go size that up. Just look down there, and we had to push the ore car out of the way, so not have to climb through it to get around it. So we're gonna check it out. The drift down here, it's a dusty one.
Where's the telephone at? Look at that old knife switch.
They must have found something good.
Feast your eyes upon.
Wow, that's
Oh, wow.
incredible. Westinghouse.
That's really cool. But since they're geeking out on that, I'm gonna keep going ahead.
We gotta be close to the shaft.
And so we come around here and boom,
Back to the shaft.
back to the shaft. That is a big shaft. Wow. It's a dusty big shaft. A lot of material went tumbling down there because it smashed all the rail, all the utility lines and everything. All right, I'm going to take a closer look at that electrical panel. As damp as the mine was above us, it's really dry down here.
Yep. Alright. Better view, Justin.
Yeah. All right, there's a better look.
Dead end of the shaft.
Power box. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see all that. I'm impressed by how much is still in this mine, this far down. Good stuff.